We are Gold Ivy.
Our mission is to empower you to own and unleash your truth.
Stories of resiliency are gold, and ivy grows in hard places.
Those hard places are what creates space for light to shine through.
You decide what works for your daily life and how to transform our lessons into your gold.
This is Ivy Unleashed,
a Gold Ivy production. Brooke, what do you think everyone wants more of?
Energy.
What do you think most people are hoping to come out of 2023 with?
Feel more confident, be an example for others, actually have the self-discipline to take care of themselves.
Yes, exactly. Because we hear the need for it and we want to help you get in the best shape of your life, we created Move with Gold Ivy, our virtual workout platform.
Our dream has been to create accessible, affordable, and effective workouts that you can do anytime, anywhere, designed to hold you accountable and get you the results you need.
You can pick any workout you want at any time, but if you do want a plan that alternates muscle groups and leaves your body feeling energized and strong, we have a weekly plan that you can follow to take the guesswork out.
It's easy to navigate and packed with all kinds of workouts that will help you strengthen, trim, pump up, tone, energize, de-stress, all of the things we want our body to feel. It's within Move.
Don't forget to mention the resources we offer. As a member of Move with Gold Ivy, you'll be a part of our exclusive Ivy League community, where we share our top wellness resources on things like meal planning, gut health hacks, time management, and more.
And because you listen to the Ivy Unleashed podcast, we want to offer you all of this for only $20 a month, cheaper than any monthly membership you'll find.
Not only that, you'll get a free trial week to test it out.
And if you need more incentive to start prioritizing you, here's our favorite part. Your movement matters. Each month, 10% of your membership will be donated to support the mental health of those in need.
So head on over to goldivyhealthco.com/move or find the link within the show notes of this episode and sign up today. Stop putting yourself in the back burner. Snag your spot and reap the benefits that you deserve to feel this year.
It's your time. Move for your health, move for your confidence, move for your mental clarity, move with Gold Ivy. Hey everyone, welcome back to Ivy Unleashed. Get excited because today we are giving you access to an incredible mind. We are talking about 3 of my favorite things: an incredible story of perseverance and determination, gut health, and biohacking to get your health back and to thrive.
Yes, and we are talking with surgeon, CEO, and co-founder of Clora, Dr. Kirten Parekh. Welcome to Ivy Unleashed.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We're really excited. I have a feeling these two are going to just geek out about gut health today, but I just want to get everybody extra excited because sometimes we just have these people that kind of fall into our world that are so unique, so gifted, so smart. Not only is Dr. Parekh a surgeon, but he also just decided in COVID to go back to school and learn all about nutrition and is about to become an RD. So there's just a lot that we could tap into today. And so we're kind of unsure of where to start, but we always like to hear a little bit more about your story. Kind of before becoming a doctor, what was life like for you?
Yeah, I'm first generation American, so grew up in New Jersey, and my parents were very selfless. I had a great childhood. Everything was fantastic. And that I had really a strong interest in interior design, architecture, and buildings. So
interesting.
I decided to go to RIT, which is in Rochester. And for a brief moment, I wanted to study architecture. When I was in school, 2008, 2009, housing crisis was happening and the financial crisis of that era. So I decided to go the route of going to prerequisites for med school, just because I didn't want to stay behind a computer or study behind a desk all day, and I didn't really understand the path for architecture and how I could be my own boss or build homes or do the interior stuff that I really wanted to do. I just didn't understand at the time, so I decided to go the easier route and get my prerequisites done for med school.
Easier route, okay.
Yeah, it's tough, man. The architecture is not easy, let me tell you that.
Wow. But
Did you have an interest in medicine or what?
Yeah, I used to do track and field in middle school, and I had a podiatrist actually that was my doctor for all the ankle sprains I was dealing with from 13 to 20. And he was living a good life, had a great work-life balance, and was able to do his own business stuff. So I decided to go that route. I thought that was interesting. And I like foot and ankle surgery. I think it's easy. I think it's easy in the sense of like it's instant gratification for a lot of patients that are diabetic, that have wounds, or if you have a fracture, you can fix it really quickly and see like the fruits of your labor immediately versus like something, for example, primary care where you're dealing with chronic diseases and you see changes over a long period of time.
Yeah. And as you can, everyone listening, you're a doctor, and I've seen my fair share of doctors, but Dr. Kirten is a little bit of a different doctor because you had your own health journey, your own health scare. And so you do believe in nutrition and you believe in gut health and the importance. So walk us through what that was like, this shift in your career.
Yeah. So after school, you go through a period of training where you are a doctor, but you're not practicing on your own, called residency. Some people do something called a fellowship, which is after residency. It's like additional training and specialty. So if you're like orthopedics or hand specialty or whatever it might be. So I just did residency, and during the last portion of residency, I decided to do a mini fellowship in Asia at a hospital called Civil Hospital, which is Asia's largest hospital. It's got 6,000 beds. It's an entire campus. It's crazy. And I went with my chief of orthopedics at Englewood Hospital. His name is Dr. Shah, really great guy. And we did like 600 cases. It was nuts. It was just like the volume of people there and pathology and surgery there is just insane. And they don't have the laws in place like we do in the United States in terms of liability or legal or even procedure in terms of sterile field, or it's just crazy out there. Anyway, so I spent like a month there, and the last few weeks I was there, I got a hemorrhagic E. coli infection from something I ate. I don't even know what it was. I was staying in a nice hotel eating food. And when you're younger, you just kind of think you're invincible and you think like, all right, I'll take some antibiotics and be fine. And that was exactly my case. I took some antibiotics and I was fine. But then 4 months later, I started having like UC, which is ulcerative colitis, IBD, Crohn's type of symptoms. So I got a scope done, went through the whole GI route, and was fine for a few more months after that without medication. And then something really weird happened in the middle of the summer in 2017. I was happiest I've ever been. I was in shape. I was working out. I was just like super happy. I just started this new job. That was my dream job that I landed after residency. So there was nothing like stressful in my life at all. Everything was great. And then one day I woke up in the middle of the night and I had this like pain. It was almost like a stomachache you get from eating bad food, right? No big deal. Didn't think anything of it. Had no symptoms at all. And next thing you know, I started losing a pound a week. And that pound a week went to negative 35 pounds, then negative 40 pounds, then negative 45 pounds. And by the end of 2017, I was like 110 pounds. And I'm like 5'8", in pretty good shape. So I would go to work. And remember, this is with no symptoms. I even had multiple endoscopy and colonoscopies at the time, which showed no pathology, meaning no inflammation, no source of infection, nothing for many months, up to like a year. And then slowly, you know, when one system is off, other systems can get affected in your body. Mm-hmm. So eventually inflammation showed up, and many doctors put me on many medications, which led to nothing. So that's essentially what my journey was in terms of gut health and like how I was really affected. And it was really, really strange because I was in a unique perspective of a patient, a physician, and a consumer, like outside, right? And I was so confused by everything. I was like, what's going on? How's this happening? No food I ate or eliminated changed my symptoms. I went on like a 15-day water fast. That didn't do anything. I probably spent in that first year between 2017 and 2018, close to $30,000 of my own cash. And this is my first job, right? My first job coming out. I'm trying to spend my money, enjoy my life. And I get blown with this like 2 months in. And I spent that much money outside of traditional medicine and traditional within my insurance, experimenting, seeing new doctors, seeing specialists, seeing world specialists at Mount Sinai, New York City hospitals, Philadelphia hospitals, you name it, I've done it. I even went to the route where I was going to go down to a family in Mexico City that was like, had a lineage of athletes for their bacteria, their FMT, fecal microbial transplants. So I can like harvest a good bacteria from an athlete essentially. Like I was willing to do all that stuff. Didn't end up doing that, which is kind of extreme, but had all this testing done, had a CT scan, MRI, every test you can think of I had done. And I was begging doctors, like, help me. I would go to work, and this whole time I went to work, by the way, I didn't take any time off. So I remember like going to work sometimes, and my staff was like, "Are you okay?" Because I was so thin. I carried around a little ring of silicone with me, just so I can sit down without pain, because my like nerves were like exposed. That's how little fat I had on my body. I wish I could show you some photos, but it was bad. You know, I take pride in like the way I look a little bit, and like I take pride in keep my body healthy. I was one of those people growing up that I would get out of my way to eat well. All my friends would go to a steakhouse. I'd be like, I'm gonna get a salad or whatever. You know, I would just try to be healthy my whole life. In college, I was an athlete. I rode in college. I never really drank or did any drugs. I was kind of like in shape. Med school is a different story. Party a little harder than we should have. But there was no history of IBD, no history of autoimmune disease. My family's very healthy. We have been for generations. And for this to happen, we were all like dumbfounded. Like it was so weird. But there's always a silver lining to suffering. And eventually I came to realizations over time, like, oh, gut health is really important. Diversity in any situation leads to better outcomes, right? So diversity in nature leads to better outcomes in a forest. Diversity in genetics leads to better outcome. When you have like mixed babies, they're usually cuter and more, I guess, genetically like resilient. And the same thing happens with your gut microbiome. Diversity in microbes. Your microbiome consists of multitude of things, including bacteria, fungi, viruses, and other different types of small organisms that make up your microbiome unique self. It's like a fingerprint. And when that's disturbed, whether it's through an infection, antibiotic use, other toxic pathogens that could cause a disruption of that balance, it leads to pathology. And that pathology can happen from multiple locations. And it's not just in your colon where your microbiome lives, your large intestine. It can happen in your upper GI. It can happen in your pancreas. It can happen in your gallbladder. All these things are a system. If you have a clog up in your drain up top, then the bottom portion of the drain is going to suffer. It might rust out, or same thing happens with your car and your oil. So these systems are all connected. And another system that was really interesting that's extremely connected is your mind-gut connection. A lot of your neurotransmitters and the density of neurons in your body outside of your CNS, your central nervous system, is actually in your gut, and it acts like your second brain, right? So there's like a stat that people are aware of now that a lot of serotonin is made in your gut, and this is true, or serotonin neurotransmitters are made in your gut. So what was really strange about this was not only was I like super thin and like suffering, like just aesthetically, I didn't look healthy. I couldn't go on dates. I couldn't go out with my friends. It was just like weird. I didn't really have any other symptoms other than that. I ate 10,000 calories a day one time, every single day for a week, and filmed myself doing it. Like microwaved ice cream, drank it. I had burgers. I just did everything I could to show my doctors. I was like, hey, this is not a mental thing. I'm like eating everything I can to like gain weight, and nothing's working. Every diet, a FODMAP, I did everything I could, and nothing really worked. But it was just interesting because over time you realize like something's off. I have to look into this. And luckily my doctors were fantastic. They were able to kind of help me find out what was wrong. But yeah, so that's essentially how I got into like gut health and diet and nutrition and all that stuff.
Cliffhanger.
I've got so many thoughts, so many questions. It's, you know, everyone's gut health story is similar yet so different, right? My journey and yours, there's a lot of similarities of doctors not really knowing and the symptoms, but you didn't have symptoms, and it's just, but you know when your body is off. And for you being a physician, I'm curious what that was like. Like they didn't teach you, I'm sure. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but about nutrition, about the systems, the pathways in school. So what was that like being a physician and not being able to figure out what the heck's going on with your own body?
It was really frustrating. It was really like, it was tough, man. I was in pain too. At one point, the first year, nothing really happened, but then I started losing sleep. Like I was up until I would say a few months or close to a year ago, I was not able to sleep. And it was tough. And I'm pretty resilient. I can take a lot of pain, emotional and physical pain. But this was like not getting sleep was destroying me, like mentally. I would wake up in the middle of the night in severe pain for no reason. You know, I was going to the bathroom once or twice daily. Wasn't having like diarrhea or anything like that. And I would go to work like a zombie. I would take hydrate myself with honey and take NMN, which is like a precursor to mitochondrial health, just like energize myself. And what's interesting is, like I was talking about earlier, the mind gut connection. When I was having flares or when my gut was at my worst, I would have really weird nightmares, like severe, horrible, the worst horror movie type of nightmares. And I was really interested in that. And the second I got better, I would have like normal dreams. So your gut health is affecting your brain health. It's affecting the way you think, the cravings you have for chocolate or whatever it might be. I have psychotic cravings for chocolate almost all the time. It's insane. After I eat food, I will have like psychotic cravings for chocolate.
I do too.
I think it's
Gotta
genetic.
work on that gut health.
I know.
Yeah,
Well,
I think that's a genetic thing maybe, but I did get cravings for weird things when I was really, really sick. It was strange.
like what?
A lot of calories, carbs. Yeah, I would just I would eat like a 2,000 calorie meal in one sitting and still be hungry.
Those bugs, they want the sugar. If you're watching on YouTube, you see you're healthy, your skin is glowing, like you look incredible.
I'm super healthy now.
Yeah.
Healthiest I've ever been.
So
there's a good silver lining to this story.
Yeah. So let's tell the listeners, because I'm sure they're dying to know, of how you figured out why you were losing so much weight and what was really going on.
Yeah. I think it was a combination of things. Number one is, in our healthcare system, modern times, it's very much protocol and not deviating from that protocol. So I would ask my doctors, hey, what about this? What about that? Well, it's like, okay, this is not the step for IBD. We do mesalamine, we do this, then we do that, then we do Humira, then we do these, then the surgery is the last step. So it's like people, especially GI doctors, don't really want to deviate from these like protocols. And like I said, my GI doctor was fantastic. I have nothing but praise for them. It wasn't their fault that this happened. I just had a really weird case, and I'll explain that in a second. But I can see the frustration with my own patients sometimes when they have when we're stuck with a protocol or a treatment plan that doesn't work for them. We have to kind of think outside the box. But that opens you up for liability and possible lawsuits and all this stuff. So these are the thoughts that would go through our head. On top of that, post-pandemic especially, medicine has become, especially primary care medicine, has become in a situation where the same doctors that saw you have to see 5 more patients a day to make the same amount of money, or to make the same amount of RVU, which is like a work unit for the hospitals. So like medicine has become completely absurd as far as traditional medicine with insurance goes. So for you to get quality care, you really have to find someone special or pay out of pocket. Before, we kind of joke around saying you kind of have to be rich now to have good healthcare, because you have to pay out of pocket for a lot of things,
sad.
or pay for someone's time. Yeah. So I don't know if that answered your question, but so what was really wrong with me? So we were, it's important when you have something wrong with your GI tract to do it both an endoscopy and a colonoscopy. What that means is 2 from both ends, right? So you're anesthetized, you're under anesthesia, and they look at your stomach, your esophagus, your GI tract, and your upper GI, bile acids, all these things. And then they look at your colon and your ileum and all that stuff. So understanding both aspects of it is really important. So one of the things that they found was I had some gastritis, which is inflammation of the stomach lining, which could be causing a little bit of malabsorption or issues with absorption in the lower GI and your small intestine. So let's go over digestion real quick, right? Digestion begins in your mouth. You chew your food, salivary amylase breaks down some of the carbohydrates. It goes down into your stomach acids, pepsin, all these different enzymes break down the proteins into more absorbable particles, and then it goes into your small intestine, which starts in the duodenum. That's where all the absorption happens. And while that's happening, the gallbladder, pancreas secrete enzymes which break down carbohydrates, plant proteins, lipids, and that's mixed with bile. This liquid that your gallbladder squeezes out to break down further enzyme or further foods, including fat. And then your small intestine absorbs it and then goes into your large intestine, where things like water and different vitamins are absorbed. And then you release the waste. So that's essentially a rough idea of how the digestive tract works as the food moves through you. And in my case, I think this is my thought. I think I figured it out, where there's something called bile acid malabsorption, BAM. And a lot of people are undiagnosed with this for many, many years because IBD is so prevalent. IBD meaning inflammatory bowel disease is so prevalent in modern society because of the food sources that we have. let's pause there for a second, and I'll talk about some of the food sourcing that we have in America. I have patients that come from Europe that literally get sick as soon as they come here because they're eating some of the gluten that's here, some of the seed oils. And I know that's pretty hot topic right now, especially the seed oil thing on social media, but it's really true. The reason why is there's a ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids in our body, and they're essential fatty acids means we can't produce them. We have to intake them in our diet. So unfortunately, in our American diet, a lot of the packaged foods we have seed oils like rapeseed oil, cottonseed oil, safflower, sunflower. There's so many of them, I can't name them all, but they're omega-6 fatty acids, and they're highly inflammatory. And the ratio in America is like completely off. It's like 20 to 1. It's insane. Something like that. It should be like 3 to 1, I believe. Omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids. So one of the ways to get yourself healthy with that is to eliminate omega-6 fatty acids in your diet. Try not to eat out. Try not to eat Uber Eats or have like takeout because you don't know what they're cooking oil with. And increase your intake of omega-3 fatty acids through natural foods like wild-caught fish and nuts and things like this. So that's one of the things we learned in nutrition school. Another thing we learned in nutrition school, I learned more about nutrition and like whole body wellness in nutrition school than I ever did in med school. I went to decent med school. I went to Temple University in Philly. It's just like part of our protocol or part of our education, I think, system where we don't really learn about nutrition much, which we should. One of the other interesting things we learned about in school was this guy named Norman Borlaug. I think I'm pronouncing it correct. He won the Nobel Peace Prize for saving the most amount of lives than anyone who's ever existed. He saved like 1 billion lives. And the way he did that was he created the lineage for, I believe, the pest-resistant wheat germ. So like the engineering behind like the seed that was resistant to different types of environmental disease. So this wheat crop was able to proliferate and prevent famine in places around the world where people were dying. I believe this is the 1930s or 40s. I'm not sure, but it was sometime around then. And the side effect of that was that this crop and the seed was highly invasive. It needed a lot of fertilizer. So companies like Monsanto and the such were birthed from that era, and ruined topsoil, and the seed needed a lot of water. So over time, over many decades, monocrop agriculture has become a staple in America. And diversity, remember I was talking about diversity earlier, how it leads to better outcomes. Diversity in our food sourcing and diversity in our food has gone down drastically compared to 50 years ago. And that is causing a significant rise in autoimmune disease, inflammatory disorders, and general unwellness and lowered well-being and lowered happiness and mood and depression. All the stuff we're seeing in Gen Z and millennials right now is, I believe, in part a side effect of our food sourcing.
Yeah. So you're saying even if you are eating healthy, the quality of what you're eating is nowhere near what it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, there are, I joke with my patients. I'm like, hey, I'm a surgeon. I can barely afford to live because I spend a lot of money on food and food sourcing, and food equality is an issue too. That's a subject for another time. But yeah, I think it's really, really important to see what you're eating and where your food's coming from, especially now more than ever.
I want to circle back because this is incredible information. But I'm sure that people are still wondering what really happened, how you figured this out. So you found out you had gastritis, and then what?
I had a little bit of gastritis. I tried a bunch of different PPIs, which are proton pump inhibitors, which stop the acid in your stomach from secreting, but they made my symptoms worse. So I was put on a lot of medications. I was put on Humira, I was put on Xeljanz, I was put on mesalamine, Stelara, and these drugs cost me thousands of dollars out of pocket to try, and they did nothing for me. These are all drugs that kind of stop inflammation through suppressing your immune system, which was kind of antithesis to what I wanted to do, because I was like all about health and wellness, preserving my youth, being healthy, and all that stuff. So
there should be like a refund policy, like, oh, that didn't work, here's your money back. Like,
no, there's definitely no refund policy, especially on these medications. Yeah, so I tried all the medications that the doctors wanted me to. Even prednisone didn't help. Eventually, I came across some research on bile acid and why bile acid is so important for absorption of fats, absorption of nutrients, overall digestion. And a decrease or a pathology where your gallbladder has stones in it or whatever it might be can cause huge digestive issues. And some people might be inflammation. Some people might be weight loss. Some people might be weight gain. or other issues down the line. For me, it was weight loss and this nighttime pain that I was having and all that stuff. So I tried some bile acid binders, which really, really helped. As soon as I started taking those, I noticed a big difference in everything. It was like literally within 24 hours, I started gaining weight. It was nuts. And I kind of stuck with that. That was like my end kind of result in terms of how I got better was I used bile acid binders. And there's a few stories on YouTube, specifically from this one woman who she went 14 years like I did, and got worse each year and went through she lives in the UK. She went through specialist after specialist, kind of like my story, where I went to like the best doctors in the world. And I had privilege too. Whenever there was a test I needed to do that had a 6-month wait, or a procedure I needed to do that had a 3-month wait, I was always ahead of the line because of just my relationship with my colleagues. So I had privilege and it's fine, but I can only imagine someone suffering that didn't have the knowledge I did that is going through this right now. While someone's parents are trying to help them, I'm sure my parents suffered through this as well. As much as I tried to hide it from them, my family definitely suffered a little bit, seeing me the way I was. So not giving up on yourself and being your own patient advocate is really important in the situation. But along with that, in my journey, I learned about how probiotics, prebiotics, postbiotics are really important. The quality of your food is really important. All these things incrementally improved my health and my life, but it didn't solve my issue. The thing that solved my issue was my resilience and understanding that I need to figure this out, otherwise I'm going to die from this, or like I'll go crazy. And it took me a few years, but I figured it out. And I think that's kind of like the message I want to bring home to everyone is like, if you're suffering through something, whatever it might be, whether it's IBD or some other health and wellness issue, don't just rely on doctors. Don't just rely on yourself in terms of research. Like, make it a comprehensive thing and focus on it, and you'll find an answer.
Which, thank you for saying that, because I can definitely relate. But it's also very frustrating, right? You're spending all of this money. You have all of these resources, being a doctor and having your colleagues, yet you still can't figure it out. And then on top of that, you have zero energy, I'm sure, because you are losing weight. You're exhausted. You're trying to figure out how to advocate for yourself when you don't know what the hell's going on. So where did you start? Like, when you had to figure this out for yourself, were there certain websites that you went to? Were there certain people that you followed? Because you ultimately figured this out on your own.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to, it's a checklist, right? You kind of say, what was really nice, I think, is every time you think you have a solution, or you think something is the problem source, you get excited. Mm-hmm. Like and throughout this process, because my bile acids weren't being absorbed and working properly, I had crazy infections. I had Giardia as well. So when I first got diagnosed with Giardia, which was like, I think a few months after I started losing weight, I was super excited because I'm like, oh, of course it's Giardia. I'm losing a ton of weight. Let me take this anti-parasitic. I'll be fine. And nothing happened after that. And then the next thing I was like, okay, maybe I'll try this antibiotic and this will make me better because it destroys this bug. Let me try fasting. Let me try this FODMAP diet. Let me try SIBO protocol, which is small intestinal bowel overgrowth, where your bacteria is in your small intestine preventing absorption of nutrients. Everything that I found that possibly could be the source gave me another 2-3 months of hope. Mm-hmm. Because each medication you're on, you have to wait 2-3 months before it kicks in. So that went on probably for 3-4 years. And then finally found some solutions. But yeah, that's where I started. I started on PubMed, which is a research database where you can look at basically peer-reviewed journals, case studies, stuff like that. That gave me a lot of hope and solace. Forums are hard because not a lot of people are informed or don't really have like scientific protocol when they're testing on themselves. So you can get some inspiration there. But supplements, oh my God, I'm like a supplement king. I've taken so many supplements. I have like thousands of dollars worth of supplements in my apartment right now. It's insane, but a lot of them work, so that's good. One of the things I actually found that was interesting is I was taking stuff for Crohn's and ulcerative colitis. So I was taking stuff to lower the inflammation in my small and large intestine, and it worked to an extent. It was like a rate limiting factor. Like, it worked to stop the inflammation, but didn't work to help my absorption of calories and nutrients. So in that process, I learned a lot of things that actually do work for IBD and IBS. One of them being curcumin, which is a fantastic TNF-A inhibitor, which is one of the inflammatory molecules that happens in IBD. Different types of curcumin work for different types of people. So that definitely helped. And there's a few other things I can think of off the top of my head that really helped. that inflammatory portion of things. So yeah, it was a whole learning process, and it inspired me to learn more about nutrition, which is the silver lining above all else, right? Learn about nutrition. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have met a lot of friends and my co-founders and the companies that we're starting now if it wasn't for this suffering.
Yeah. I'm so happy that you're sharing this information, because there's a lot of people that have gone through what you've gone through that
Or still are.
and they're sitting in silence. Maybe they figured it out, but they're not sharing it. So I'm so happy you're here to talk about not only what you learned about like what was good for you, but like your mental health experience, because as an outsider, being friends and family and business partners with Brooke, she's in a lot better place now, but I know exactly what you're talking about, where she would get really excited and she would be trying something new and would be pumped, and she would just feel like maybe this is going to be it. And then the low part of that roller coaster was so low and so sad and so hard to watch as someone that feels hopeless for her. Like, you're like, I don't know what to tell her what to do. And it's such an isolating thing, because you guys are both talking in this language. If you haven't had gut health issues, then you're like, what are you trying? Why do you think you need supplements? It's like really hard to support people in it. And so I'm curious who that was for you. Like, who kind of helped you, or what did you lean on to kind of get through those low dips in your mental health space when things didn't work?
I think when I first graduated, I landed this job, which is my current job. I've been there for 4 years. It was my dream job. It still is. I love it. It's like I have this beautiful office. I can do whatever I want, which is fantastic. It's like I work for a multi-specialty group, cardiovascular group that does everything under the sun. And one of the specialties is my specialty in there. We kind of help start the multi-specialty division of this practice. So at the end of the day, I was still able to work physically. And when you're in the operating room, it's really, really weird. It's like one of those zones where nothing else, it's like everything becomes like this, and you think of nothing else besides what you're focused on, and your pain goes away, your thoughts go away. It's just like complete flow state. And that would happen once a week for me for many years. So that was kind of like a nice, I know it sounds cliche, but it really worked. Like going to work and focusing on stuff like that helped. Talking to my friends, like traveling a lot. I would go to California a lot. I smoked a lot of weed. That helped a lot for my IBD and whatever inflammation was happening. It would kind of numb the pain a lot. Yeah, I think my friends helped a lot in my job, I would say, more than anything. My parents obviously helped much. They helped a ton. They were there for me. It was fantastic. But it was tough on them. So eventually I just cut it off and cut off some of the news or some of the things I was experimenting with. I was like, oh, how you doing? I'm doing great. Fantastic. And then I would just kind of like vent to my friends now instead.
Yeah, which sucks, right? Because you want to tell your people want to help you, but it is such a foreign concept if you've never gone through it.
Yeah.
Like even talking.
The only person that could have helped me was me at that point. Like I was like, I have to figure this out. No one's going to figure it out besides me.
And people, right? Like we both get a lot of feedback on TikTok with what we're sharing about our gut health journey, and everyone wants just the magic pill. And it's way more than that. Supplements, yes, there is a time and place. 100% agree with what you're saying, but it's so bio-individual. You have to figure out what is going to work for you. So I'm curious, now that you know what you know, you went back to school, got this nutrition degree, you're working after it, you started Clora. What are you hoping to turn this pain into, this message? What is your new message with this mess?
So I know we're going to end the thing with a quote, but I'll quote it now. and the quote is, discomfort is the price we pay for a meaningful life. I think the quote is a little different. It's by a psychiatrist from Harvard. I forget her name, but it's something along those lines. Like, so discomfort is the price we pay for a meaningful life, right? And so like, I think everyone that goes through some success has to go through some suffering. Mm-hmm. And in my case, this was my like lifetime, hopefully, suffering and a lesson to kind of spread the word about how we can optimize our health and stay youthful and not give up on something that's really unknown or something that is put upon you without reason. Because I have a lot of patients that, and what was really weird, it was like this like dichotomy of me seeing patients, a lot of them were obese, diabetic, smoking, perfectly healthy, great genetics, and they would do this to themselves, whether for whatever reason. And I would just sit there and, someone's complaining about their weight and it's completely under control. And I was in a situation where I was dying for no reason, like losing weight, and this person's talking about how they don't feel like being healthy, and it was very frustrating mentally, subconsciously, to kind of deal with that while I was going through what I was going through. But the message is like, you're in control of a lot more than you think, and if you take action on it and really like focus on the positive things and what hopefully you can achieve with your health goals, what's on the other side for you is really beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And I love that you've created a business also. I don't know what else you have going on. Jeez. I don't know when you find time to have fun or have sleep, but I would love to hear about you helping create Chlora, tell our listeners what it is and how it can help people.
Yeah, I'll tell you the story behind that, which is interesting. So my two co-founders, John and Dan Snow, they're actually like media titans. Dan runs Rap TV, which is like, I think they have like 2 billion impressions a month. It's insane. Like it's the biggest hip hop channel in the world right now. And John, who I grew up with, he went to dental school and subsequently the Air Force. He's an orthodontist. He also is in marketing now full time. And so we all grew up together. Dan's younger brother, John, and I are similar age. And I kept running into Dan in the city. And like when you're friends with someone, you really hang out with their younger brother. So I saw him like 5 times. Like, hey man, like here's my number. If you're ever around, like let me know. Because John was, I think he was away or he wasn't around. So then we just started talking about biohacking. Dan's like super into health and wellness as well. And this is during the pandemic in 2020. I was in school, nutrition school, and I learned about HMOs, which are human milk oligosaccharides, which are found in breast milk. And I was like super fascinated by it because patients that are babies that are breastfed are healthier as adults. They have less incidence of autoimmune disease. They're quote unquote smarter sometimes. I mean, I don't know, that's subjective, but just healthy people, right? And I was really fascinated by it because it's like a new field of study for a lot of these companies like DuPont and some of these health like Johnson Johnson. They want to like study these HMOs because they have profound implications for human health. And I was like, why isn't this like an adult supplement? This is weird. So I was having like a flare or something. I don't know what it was at the time, but I was having something, and I'm like, I'm gonna find some 2FL, 2-fucol-lactose, which is like one of the most abundant HMOs in human breast milk. It sounds really weird. I was like, I want to search to find this, but surprisingly, it's available in baby formula, which is available at Target, which is across the street. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go grab some baby formula and like make myself a ultimate protein shake.
Dude, people will do anything to take care of their gut health.
This is like nothing.
Yeah, this is nothing. I almost went to Mexico for some poop. Anyway, the 2FL, well, it actually helped me gain a little bit of weight, made me feel a little bit better. And Dan was like, yo, man, I feel like garbage. I'm getting this, I'm getting that, acne, fat. Like, what do I do? I'm like, fix your gut health, bro. Like, try this stuff out. He's like, all right, what are you doing? I'm like, right now, honestly, I'm taking some of this breast milk stuff. It's like, it's fantastic. So he loved that. And there was actually a company that was selling on Amazon some just pure 2FL powder. And this stuff, just for the audience, is actually made in a lab, just like some supplements are. So it's not actually from human breast milk. It's just made, the protein, the HMO, which acts like a prebiotic, is made in a lab. So that's what's put in your baby formula. And he took it. He took some of the other advice I gave him on gut health. And he's built a lot of brands before in direct consumer. And he came back to me like a few months later. He's like, hey, I spoke to John and we really want to start a brand with you and like scale it. So the story behind Chlora is essentially that we started with 2 SKUs, the things that helped me the most. Our one SKU is for the gut skin axis, which is I was big on like seeing differences in my skin when I fix my gut health. So we have a prebiotic in there, which is the breast milk, the 2FL, and then a postbiotic, which is a short chain fatty acid, which is a byproduct of the good bacteria in your microbiome. They produce something called short chain fatty acids, the most abundant being a butyrate. And this is what the cells of the digestive tract feed on to make themselves like resilient and stronger. Quote unquote leaky gut is helped with these short chain fatty acids at a certain point in the physiology of things. And then we have a digestive enzyme, which helped me a significant amount because when you eat out, you don't know what's out. in the food, like butter or seed oils or what have you. So I'll pop a digestive enzyme before eating, and that would prevent me from getting bloated or having other digestive issues, indigestion overall. So those are two SKUs we came up with, and they're doing pretty well. We want to scale the company to be like a whole health and wellness brand, because your gut's connected to your mind, connected to inflammation, connected to the way we age. So eventually we'll have other SKUs in those other categories of aging, brain health, overall health and wellness once we kind of take off, because we're still a new company.
Mm-hmm.
But I love hearing your story and your experience with the core ingredients of these products, because as someone who has struggled with their gut, is very open about it, the amount of brands that flood our inboxes of, let's send you free product and try this, and will you post about it? And they've never dealt with their own gut health issue. They are trying to run with a product. It's all about money. And when you guys reached out to us and we heard your story, it's like, yes, like these are the type of people that we want to work with. It's about helping people at their core, at their gut. Mm-hmm. But the fact that you've been through it and you know, and these are products that you take.
And understands the science behind it. I feel like it's usually one or the other. It's either money, it's someone that understands the science, or it's someone with a story. And the fact that you encompass all of those things, and we could talk to us for 6 hours about all the things that you know with the scientific background that you have, it's refreshing and it feels right. Like when Brooke takes supplements, I'm always like, do you know what's in that? You know what, whatever. And she just has this integrity with what she's taking, that she finds top of the line things that are natural and that are going to help her, or she just doesn't. So thank you for creating it. It's amazing.
Yeah. No, my pleasure. Yeah, definitely. And I'm a big, like I said, supplement prince, I like to call myself. And I make sure that wherever I buy my stuff from is like third party tested, is domestically sourced or European sourced. I just like really try to make sure that things are the highest quality. And the same goes for Quora. So, and that's the only reason why we didn't include a probiotic in our lineup to start, at least, because a lot of our competitors have probiotics in their lineup, but my experience and a lot of other people's experiences, probiotics, just like your microbiome, is highly individual. A probiotic that works for me may not work for you, or make things worse if you have something like SIBO. Yep. So we were like, let's do a prebiotic, which only helps the microbiome that you currently have, and a postbiotic, which helps the cells of the microbiome, for like our Halo product. And then digestive enzymes, which pretty much anyone can take, they're pretty safe. So, we're still like pending the probiotic thing in the future, just because we want to make sure that whatever we release in terms of the probiotic space is for a reason or for a specific subset of people, or something that's universally accepted.
Yeah, I've had my fair share of probiotics, and I've had to stop taking them because of my gut, because I have so much bad bacteria right now. I'm currently going through SIBO treatment. It never ends, it feels like. But knowing what you're taking and why is important. And when you are struggling, you will try anything. And I think the same thing goes with supplements, right? Of, okay, let me try it. But at the end of the day, it's a waste of money. So I would love to know, through your journey, what you have found with supplementing, what you feel like you can get through food, and what you do supplement.
So what my supplement routine is, like,
all of it.
Okay. So I think when you're in a flare for some certain things, there's this supplement called Cure QD, which is basically curcumin and king dye, which is indigo dye, I think indigo dialis, something like that. It's combined. So that helps with colon inflammation, particularly. I've found that supplement to be useful. But my daily supplement routine is actually more of an anti-aging routine, which I think is pretty impressive. And something that it works. I think it definitely works for energy wise. And I don't know how my cells are aging, but I definitely feel pretty young. And
you look like you're 20.
Energetic. Yeah, I'm 35 now. Which is great.
You look great.
So thank you. But
everyone's running to YouTube right now to see what he looks like.
Yeah. The routine I take is I supplement with a molecule called NMN, nicotinamide mononucleoside. A lot of people have heard of NAD drips or NR, and it's kind of in the same category, where it's a precursor to NAD plus, like the mitochondrial kind of chain of energy production, ATP. So that helps with just cellular health in general. I don't take it every day. I take it in cycles of like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, or if I'm traveling, if I fly to like LA, for example, and I'm a little jet lagged, or Asia or wherever I'm going, I'll take NMN the next day to restart my circadian rhythm along with the workout. That usually helps a lot. And then I take a supplement called spermidine. Weird name, great supplement. It's made from wheat germ. It was first isolated, I guess, in sperm. That's why the name spermidine. But it helps with the notion of autophagy. Autophagy is like cell cleaning, cell death, all that stuff, and it helps like that fasting state to help clean your body and um, kind of help support your cells. And the side effect of spermidine supplement, or the good side effect, I should say, is for me particularly, it reversed some of my gray hairs. So I had some gray hairs on my chin, which it reversed and it helped my hair a little bit. Some men have like men and women have better results as far as hair loss goes than I did, but it made my hair maybe a little bit thicker or a little bit softer. But apart from that, like I'm taking it for cell reasons. Every living thing that spermidine has been given to, nematodes, yeast cells, mammals, reptiles, has like lived 30% longer. So I'm taking that for the near future or for the foreseeable future.
Why do you think that we've never heard about it, or like why I've never heard about it?
Half of these
It's
things?
pretty new. I think it's pretty new in the literature, I would say.
Okay.
There's only a few companies selling it right now.
Is it expensive?
It's very expensive, yeah.
Oh, there you
unfortunately. Go. And I mean, I think it's getting cheaper. So NMN was very expensive 5 years ago, and the cost has gone down significantly. I think spermidine actually has gone down significantly in the past 2 years too. So there might be other sources. The source I have is fairly expensive, but there's other ways of getting it. Chlorella is a great source of spermidine. It's fairly cheap. You can get like a bulk, I think 16 to 18 ounces for like $60, and that'll last you like a few months at least.
Well, we're gonna ask Dr. Parekh for the list of this, and we'll put this in our blog, because if anybody's driving right now, they're like, "Wait, what did he say? Yes. What is that called? How's it spelled? Where do I find it?"
I have a Google Doc. It's nicknamed "Forever Young." Health Preservation Pearls by Kirten.
Oh,
and
man.
I sent to my like friends and startup, and it's just like a viral like Google Doc that just went around.
Okay, well, here's my email. You can share it too. I'm just kidding. But I think this speaks to the importance of having people in your circle who are doing the things you want to be doing, right? It's like for me in my healing journey, when I started following people that had healed their gut, that had reversed their diagnosis, it was like, oh, this is possible. Okay, let me start feeding myself and consuming this information versus my current friends that had no idea what was going on. And it wasn't anything against them, but it was like, there are people who know what they're doing, and those are the people that you need to follow. So if you are listening, you're dealing with gut health issues, or you have an undiagnosed condition, start paying attention to who you're following, because there are people out there that can help you. There are people out there that have reversed symptoms, have gotten to their root issues, and a lot of it is through nature and listening to their body, getting their body to really heal itself by nourishing it and slowing down enough to listen to what it needs. You know, I'm sure you can relate going to all these doctors. It's just like this vicious energy.
Listen to your body is really important.
Yeah,
for sure. You know, and doctors would try to convince me like, hey, you know, try this drug and you'll be perfect in 6 months. And 2 weeks later, I was like, no, this is not it. This feels wrong. And then every now and then you get like a little bit of a result, like, oh, I gained like 5 pounds. Maybe this drug is working. Usually when you have Crohn's or something like severe like that, you have something that's off, whether you stopped smoking or you had tons of antibiotics as a child. Like I had none of that. I wasn't diabetic, nothing. I had no comorbidities at all. I was not stressed out at all. Usually some stress form or some trauma. Nothing happened to me. It was completely out of nowhere. And that's why I kept pushing. I was like, no, were you stressed out, Dr. Parekh? No, I wasn't stressed out. Did you take it? No, I didn't do any of that stuff. Like, you know, and then eventually I just said, stop, you just get tired. You're like, all right, I'm going to figure it out.
So do you think when you first got the E. coli in Asia, it was something left over with that the antibiotics you were on after that just kind of it didn't clean it all up and just made it worse? What do you think really happened?
I think I do think that infection or trauma can kind of start this cascade of inflammation, and a lot of the inflammation, especially in IBD, IBS, is like the inflammatory circles are prevalent, where if you don't stop the inflammatory cycle, not cycle, then it might get worse the next cycle, right? So that's why some of these drugs, I'm not anti-drug by any means, but some of these drugs like TNF inhibitors or Humira or Xeljanz, which is a JAK inhibitor, stop the inflammatory cycle, allow your cells and the lining to heal, and then, you know, eventually, hopefully, you wean off or you find a way out through other means, through diet and supplementation. But yeah, you have to stop inflammation. That's step one. And once you stop that, the cells can heal. You get a little bit of a break, and then hopefully you can get some relief.
I'm sure a lot of the things you do now are completely different than what you did before, even though you were healthy before. You mentioned biohacking. So let's get into a little bit about what you do. First, let's start with what biohacking is.
Yeah. So I would say like biohacking is, I don't know the specific definition for what biohacking is, but for me, it's a change in some of the behaviors throughout the day that accumulate at the end of the month or at the end of the year to improve your life, your mental health, your physical health, spiritual health, everything included. So that could be supplementation, that could be behavior changes, that could be the people you surround yourself with, which is really, really important. One of the pillars of this whole thing is I have like 3 pillars. It's like gut health, nutrition, environment, and then sleep is the 3rd pillar. So those are the 3 pillars for biohacking in my head, and they all relate to one another.
What about environment?
Environment could be a lot of things. The environment you sleep in, the people you surround yourself with. So let's start with sleep. When I sleep, I'm not speaking from experience right now because my sleep schedule is really, really off because I'm constantly traveling and stuff like that. But you're supposed to sleep at the same time every day in a dark environment, in a cooled environment, around 68 degrees. And the way I achieve that is I have a bed mattress cover called 8 Sleep. It's expensive, but it works. And what it does is like this cooling pad for your mattress that when you fall asleep, it like brings your temperature down to whatever it needs to be throughout the night, so you get deeper sleep. I wear an eye mask sometimes when I have some light in the room, or use blackout shades. I wake up without my phone for the first hour. That's really, really important. I think dopamine fasting, quote unquote, that's a bad name for it, but avoiding some of the dopamine spikes is really, really important for your overall mental health and overall health in general. I'm going to go off on it for a little bit, but
Go.
I think, yeah. Okay, here's a fun experiment you guys can do at home, okay? I want you to, if you have kids, I want you to watch a children's show with your child. Or if you don't, go to YouTube and type in Paw Patrol or any other children's show, any other modern children's show. Doesn't matter where it is. Type in an episode of it, watch an episode. Watch it for the first 5 minutes. I guarantee you that each scene won't last more than 5 seconds. So you'll have like 2 dogs and Paw Patrol talking, whatever. Scene will be here, then it'll be here, then it'll be here, then it'll be here, then it'll be here. It's like it changes scene because every time a scene is changed, it's a little spike of dopamine. So your attention is fixed to the TV. And that's why these goddamn kids get addicted to these shows. It's the same thing that happens for adults when you're scrolling on TikTok or Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts. And trust me, I'm not immune to this either. I'm fully addicted to my cell phone. I'm aware of it, but I'm aware of it. That's the key. A lot of children aren't. A lot of young men and women are not aware that they're addicted to their phones and that dopamine is being destroyed in the receptors all day, constantly scrolling, especially before bed. So before bed, I try not to. I have tons of books by my bed because I'm trying to read before bed instead of looking at my phone. But I definitely don't look at my phone first thing when I wake up. That ruins my day. If I actually do, I definitely notice more fatigue in my eyes at the end of the day. I definitely notice like less concentration at work. So for an hour, I wake up, shower, brush my teeth, do everything, get dressed, take my phone, which is still on airplane mode, get in the car. Then I turn my music on, but right before I get to work, I turn on the stuff and I get all my notifications, which is a lot usually every morning. And that helps a lot. So that's like one portion of, I guess, my behavior change in biohacking.
What have you done with products? I'm curious because you mentioned environment and, endocrine disruptors and your hormones, and there's a lot around biohacking with that. So I'm curious what you've changed with that. Yeah,
I don't consume anything from plastic. I try not to. Obviously, you can't avoid it when you're ordering in or takeout or eating at restaurants or whatever. But I try not to, especially like hot soups and stuff. Like if you're ordering like Chinese food or hot soup, you're getting in like boiling plastic that you're drinking up. All these things are phthalates and plastics that cause endocrine disruption in men and fertility, especially in women and men. There's like this stat saying like 30 to 35% of women after 2040 are going to have issues with reproduction and conceiving. And that's why even friends of mine are having like really expensive treatment to produce children. It's insane. So I avoid plastic as much as I can in all my foods, especially hot foods. Again, avoid is the key word. I'm not obsessing over like, oh my God, like this is not plastic. I can't eat it. I just try to avoid it. The second is water, my water source. There was a study, I live in Hoboken right now, and I don't know if it was a study I read or something about like GI cancer in Hoboken. And I was all right, I'm gonna just not drink the tap water in Hoboken. I don't know if it, don't quote me on that. I don't know if it's true or not, but I think everyone should filter their water. I reverse osmosis filter on my desk right here that I drink from. It's called AquaTrue. And then I have a Berkey filter at my sink, which is just like a drip filter that filters out fluoride and things like this, which are neuroendocrine disruptors as well. So you don't know what's in your water. The city might not know, but even if the city cleans your water, if you live in an older building, your pipes might be, who knows what's in your pipes. So I think filtering your water is a great baseline to start, and it definitely tastes better for sure.
Mm-hmm.
As he takes a sip. I love it.
I love all the little tips. You know, when I was first getting started, it's super overwhelming. And for someone listening who might not have had a health scare or has symptoms, to think about making all of these changes is like, why? And part of me feels like I'm blessed that I'm forced to make these changes that in return are making me live longer and healthier. But when you learn more and you educate yourself, you can't unlearn these things. And so knowing that we're sharing this with you because you, Dr. Kirten, have been affected. I've been affected. These are things that are close to our heart, but also just read about them. Educate yourself. You may learn a little something that you can't unlearn and want to make a change.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why we like to give lots of tips, right? Take what you want, leave the rest, revisit the episode.
Another fun tip that is, that was kind of revealed to me, I didn't believe it, is don't touch receipt paper, thermal paper. It's a huge endocrine disruptor. It has something called BPS in it, and it's transdermal. It can be absorbed by your skin. I didn't believe any of this stuff until I read the literature on it, and yeah, it's not good. So
I've trained my kids that if they ever ask you if you want a receipt, you don't touch it, or if it comes out at Target, we just leave it.
What?
Yeah. Yep.
There's shit I learn every day that I'm like,
and it's bad too. It's like if you touch receipt paper and then eat French fries, there was like a study that said like using alcohol sanitizer and then touching receipt paper and then eating French fries or eating the takeout food, they were able to detect a large amount of BPS and or BPAS, whatever it is, bisphenol, in the patient's urine immediately afterwards. Yeah.
See, it's these things though that they can be anxiety provoking, right? So like what Brooke is saying, take what speaks to you or you feel like you can shift or change to improve your health and well-being.
Small changes.
Small changes.
That's all what you should do. Small changes that improve your life, not hinder your life. Like I'm not going out of my way avoiding plastic because that would hinder my life and my quality of life. And it will hinder my social life too. I think part of being healthy is being social, being around people you love. So if you can't eat the foods you love once in a while, what's the point of living if you can't enjoy yourself, right? If I was keto for 2 years and I had a burger, I would die. Like my body wouldn't react. So I even tell my patients, I'm like, give yourself some stressors, but eat healthy throughout the week. Be disciplined throughout the week so that you can party on the weekends, or be disciplined throughout the month so that we can go to your mother's engagement party, your mother's birthday party, and enjoy the foods with her, with your family. Like your body also responds in a healthy way to stress and adapts, but you have to give it that stressor.
I'm so glad you said that, because you will drive yourself nuts if you try and do everything perfect, and that in return is defeating the purpose. I think I would get so stressed of, I'm doing everything right, everything, and my friends over here are partying their asses off, eating like shit,
holding receipts,
holding receipts, and I'm the one wanting to die,
drinking tap water.
Yes. And so, you know, it's at a level, right? I think you have to heal yourself enough where you can tolerate certain things. But what Dr. Kirten's trying to say is, if you try and be perfect, you are going to make yourself sicker. Perfect does not exist. Make these small changes out over time. You do notice you feel better. You can control what's in your home, what's in your immediate environment, but still live your life.
Yeah, I think it's great to have like a surgeon, someone that's gone through nutrition school and is saying like, have balance, right? Like be healthy, yes, but like live your life too. I just think it's so nice to get permission from someone that has these types of credentials too, and that has been at that low spot in your health. It's like street cred on street cred on, what do you call school cred? Street cred on school cred. I don't know what
Academic.
you call it.
Student loan debt, that's what it's called.
But also ownership of your health, of the choices you're making, and the fact that you are educating everyone, using your social media, creating products like Chlora that are clean and actually know what you are taking and it works. We love it. Where can people find more of you, more of your products, so they can get the help that they need?
You can, on TikTok, I guess you can find me on @prescriber. I haven't posted in a while, but maybe I'll start posting again. But the company's website is getchlora.com. That's KLORA. And we'll be making whole body wellness products, in-home test kits, hopefully eventually soon for microbiome, and just gut health centric things that really help me, that I think is going to help a lot of people.
And you guys are having an exciting discount right now, so tell us about it.
Yeah, so we're actually I'm so confident, and we're like, our entire team is so confident in our products and what we're like developing, that we have an industry leading 50% off the subscription on month 1, which is literally half off, like no strings attached, and you can cancel or renew at any time. So that's at getchlora.com. You can sign up and get 50% off the get. And we've had great success with that. I think people really love our gut renew specifically because they see results in their skin health, which is the more prominent ones I didn't even realize until after we launched. So we're definitely leaning in that direction with the skin health and how your microbiome affects the gut skin axis, and just having a healthy microbiome, healthy gut affects your whole body, energy, sleep, everything like that. But the weird thing was the skin results that we got from a lot of our customers. So that's good for that. And then the other product is called Bloat Digest. It's just a digestive enzyme that's made from vegan sources. So a lot of people that take digestive enzymes don't want the animal ox bile or from animal sources. So we decided to create one from vegan sources that are really powerful. 6 enzymes, the main one being from papain, which is from the papaya fruit. And it works really well, actually. I was surprised at how well it worked. So I take that everywhere I go, especially when I travel outside the country. So those are 2 products we have right now, and help yourself, check it out. If you have any questions, let me know.
Awesome.
Yeah, special gift that we'll put the link in the show notes so y'all can grab it. And if you have any questions, I take both of those products. I love them both. So feel free to ask away. Happy to answer any questions, my experience with it.
All right, Dr. Parekh, we would love to hear your 3 gold stars. You've given us a million tips already, but we would like your 3 gold stars.
I would say the first one is food sourcing. Kind of understand where your food's coming from. And it doesn't have to be super expensive food that you're sourcing, but just understand where it's coming from. And especially the meats that you're buying, make sure they're pasture raised, wild caught fish. There's actually a meal delivery service I use. I learned about in nutrition school called Azaluna. Not affiliated with them at all. AzalunaFoods.com, I believe. And they have a farm in Pennsylvania where they source all their meat. They grow their own plants, and it's fantastic. And it comes in like BPA-free packaging. So I use that when I'm in a rut. I freeze it and then I just eat it after work sometimes. So I'm very cognizant about my food sourcing. And since I have been definitely healthier and definitely aging slower, for sure. So that's number 1. The second thing is I think medicine, like I said earlier, has become really, and it's in a weird spot right now. And hopefully the pendulum swings in the other direction where it's a little bit more accessible to people and a little bit higher quality, because the quality isn't at its peak like it used to be, I would say in the 2000s, 90s, where a lot of hospital systems are buying up practices, and it's becoming a lot more corporate than it was even 10 years ago. So for that reason, I think you have to be your own patient advocate, whether you're going through something chronic or you're going for a regular checkup. If you're bothered by something or if you need help, like make sure the doctor knows. And if they don't know, go to a different doctor. If they don't know, keep pushing forward. Look at online resources. Talk to your friends. Talk to friends that are other doctors that can help you find resources. Because luckily in my situation, I had the resources, but it was still difficult. So don't be disheartened by that. And the third thing is along the lines with the second thing is surround yourself with really good people. Ever since starting, we started Chlora a while ago, but it took like a year for us to get started because we wanted to do it right. During that process, I was traveling to Miami, going to LA, meeting all these people, and being a founder, first time founder, I met a lot of people in Silicon Valley that were really interested in not entrepreneurship, in biohacking and health and wellness and nutrition. And I've made like lifetime friends from that. And because of like my founder journey and starting this company, my whole outlook on life has changed because I've been surrounding myself with people I align with more than I ever have been. And because of that, it's like a rolling effect, a snowball effect, where I don't have to seek this out anymore. I just people that I'm aligned with come to me, they're attracted to me, or I'm attracted to them. And throughout my job or during the weekends when I go out, I just kind of drawn to these people, and it's enriched my life in ways that has enhanced my mental health in ways that I can't even describe how it's helped me out. So I would say that's star number three, and it's an important one. So surround yourself with people that you love. Make sure you hang out with your parents and your family because they're aging too, right? They want to see you, especially your mom and dad. And yeah, hang out with really good friends that help you grow, that support you too. You know, the ones that support you. You know the ones that are jealous when you succeed. So eliminate those and get the other ones more aligned.
Well, we're so happy you're in our circle now because you are just a really unique, very special person, and you can tell with your energy that you want to help people feel better. You want to make this more accessible, and that's what we need more of. Where you have fun, sweet, caring energy, but then also the science behind, like, it's just very unique.
Yeah, I came to win. I'm gonna turn it on too. Don't worry.
I love it. We're so happy we met you, and we have more questions for you.
Yeah, Unleashing Ivy. Rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
What is something you've done for your gut health, or maybe just your health in general, that people would find surprising?
I apply tretinoin every night before bed, which is like a retin-A that a lot of women use, but it works really well, and it's all men to use too.
Is that why you have no wrinkles?
I have no wrinkles. Yeah, I have no wrinkles. That's literally why I've been using it for like 3-4 years now.
Mm-hmm. Don't you have to have a prescription for that?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I know a doctor.
Exactly. Yeah. You get to prescribe yourself things. It's great.
Yeah, I got this prescription from New York. I just went on a trip out there, and it's so weird how it landed in my lap. Okay, my question is has nothing to do with medicine. You have mentioned traveling a lot. So I'm curious, your favorite place you've ever traveled and where you're looking forward to traveling in the future.
I really like Spain. I'm a big foodie. I love food, and Barcelona, Madrid had really, really good food. I do like locally going to Miami and LA just because I have a lot of friends there and I just like the sun. My skin needs sun. But I really want to go to Japan soon. Yeah, big time.
I'm going in June.
Are you?
Yeah. She'll let you know how it is.
Gonna climb Mount Fuji.
Are you?
Yes. Wow. Yeah.
That's impressive. Oh, I think we talked about it last time. That's amazing. Congrats. Thanks. I'm excited for you.
Yeah. Travel. It does something for the soul. Like you said, with the energy. It's all about
energy. I will say one thing. You know why? Okay. Another thing I wanted to kind of mention, I think it's important for listeners to hear, is don't delay your gratification if you want to do something. So I bought a car when I first graduated residency. It was a stupid move, but I'm not talking about material things. I'm talking about experiences. On my graduation gift for residency or for graduating med school was one of my med school friends and I went to Yosemite, just him and I by ourselves. And it was gorgeous. It's one of the best places in the United States to go to. And it doesn't cost much at all to like stay there and to really enjoy. You can spend a whole week there and still be exploring. Anyway, so to go to Half Dome, which is one of the big mountains or one of the big hikes up there, you have to get a permit. And the permit is granted by a lottery. So this is in 2016 I went. So every year since then, I was like, oh, I'll go for the lottery. I'll do this. I'll do that. Never did. Literally. This 2 weeks ago, I woke up. I was like, I'm just going to apply for the lottery. I think it started March 1st or something like that. And I applied. So I'll know April 1st if I get the lottery or which date I can go. And I'm going to go this year to Yosemite by myself, even if that's the case, to climb Half Dome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. That's amazing. Do the trip, book the trip, but also take care of yourself so you can enjoy the trip. And I think for me, it was like, I want to experience the world and do all these things, but I feel like crap. And that was such an energy giver of like, I have this life to live and I only have one and I want to do all these things and I have to feel good, damn it.
Yeah.
So,
and also don't take for granted your youth. When you're 25, when you're young in New York City or wherever, you're invincible. And you kind of forget that 10 years from now, you might age faster than you should. So luckily I was busy with school, so I didn't really think about that. But it's definitely become a thought in my late 20s and early 30s. And because of that, I took action on it. And that's one of the reasons why I am the way I am now, full of energy, pretty youthful looking, and looking forward to the next 10 years versus some of my other friends who are tired all the time. They don't look as good, they don't feel as good, and it's all in your control. You can really take control of your health and age slower, quote unquote slower, than you actually should if you take care of yourself at a young age. So if there's listeners that are in their mid-20s or early 20s, start now. There's nothing wrong with it. You're going to feel great when you're my age.
Yeah, be proactive. Don't wait until you feel like crap to do something about it, which I feel like a lot of people do. So if you want to stay feeling good, do some things to do so. Yeah. All right, and last question. If you could go back and tell your younger self one thing, what would you tell him?
Ask Stephanie out. I'm not joking.
Who's Stephanie?
Stephanie.
Ask Stephanie out to prom. No. I was a really shy kid, I think, when I was younger. And I'm like the complete opposite now. So I think I would say take more risk at a younger age. Yeah, that's the time to do it, right? So
what shifted? How'd you find your voice?
The trials and tribulations of graduate school.
Putting yourself through hard things, forcing
hard
yourself.
Things, yeah. You have to bring yourself to go through hard things before you can find yourself or your peak self, you know.
Yeah. Ivy grows in hard places, man.
Sure does. Well, thank you so much for your time, for your story, for your vulnerability, your products. We are so excited to be a part of Clora's Magic, to watch this company thrive and get the recognition it deserves. We're so excited to see where life takes it, where it takes you. So thank you. We're so grateful for you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. And Dr. Parekh, the last thing we do in every episode is we leave our listeners with your piece of gold.
Stay forever young.
This is Gold Ivy signing off.
Listen to your truth and go chase your gold.